This could, without a doubt, be one of the saddest pictures I've ever seen of a Major League Baseball game. I watched this live and felt the same shock that everyone else felt. It was heart-wrenching for a lot of reasons, but as a former reliever myself, I think there's a couple things that I just want to say about it. One big part of being a reliever going into the playoffs is you just don't want it to be your fault that the season ends, right? You don't want to be the one that blows it, because that inflection point is always what people remember. Okay, I remember having a conversation with Seth Lugo in 2022 as his first playoff appearance, and he was just said basically, "Hey man, I just don't want it to be me." And that is something that we all think during the regular season, but it just obviously gets 10x'd in the playoffs. Sometimes for some relievers, and this is not an excuse, it's very hard to throw two bases sometimes for relievers, because you are so used to throwing the ball a certain way with a certain arm path, with a certain gusto, that quickly grabbing the ball, getting a grip and throwing it isn't natural anymore. And you don't get enough plays to you because you don't pitch enough to practice it in games. Starting pitchers generally have a little bit more practice doing these things, right? But this specifically was just panic, okay? The ball back to him, 2 outs, bases loaded, you go to first base. We all know that. But where it fell apart was when he didn't field it cleanly. When you don't field cleanly, you have no idea how long you have to throw the ball. Also, the center fielder, Andy Pages, is running to first. You assume he's fast, right? So you're assuming he's farther than he is. When you panic, you look at the closest option, and that was home plate, and he just threw it. He didn't have a grip. He didn't have anything. He just threw the ball and threw it to the backstop. In every sport, every team but one has the moment at some point where they realize that it's not going to be their year. They are not going to win it all. Sometimes it's early in the year, and that's a little bit easier to handle in the moment, but then makes playing the rest of the year and finding things to really play hard for harder. Sometimes it is all at once. You go from thinking that it might be a chance to it not being a chance from one moment to the next. That can hurt the most, but it happens to everyone. And all of that said, that's sports. You got to make the one play. It's about doing your job, and doing your job over and over and over and over again. And then there comes a time where mistakes are no longer a possibility, and to still win. And this was one of them. I feel for him. We got to make the play. And those are the moments that are the difference between the heroes and the guys that are remembered for the opposite.